Welcome to the next part of our fall design. This is the tutorial for the wheelbarrow with pumpkins. You've already stitched some pumpkins, so we know how to do those. So let's get this gorgeous wheelbarrow underway. Once you've stuck it to your garment, make sure it's firmly pressed so that there's no rolling. We're going to put on our needle approximately a good generous armful of the brown yarn or whichever colour yarn you're going to be using. And for this stitch, I'm going to put the basket weave in this. I absolutely love this stitch, so I will use it at any time that I think it will work. And I just know that it looks adorable on the wheelbarrow. So to start this, we're just going to do a row of straight stitches. So we're just going to pop them in about 1 to 2 millimeter apart. Once you're at the end and you've popped that last one in, we're just going to flip our garment over and you're going to take your threaded needle, thread it through all of your work again until the starting tail and end tail are now together. Once they're together, you're going to tie them together in a triple knot and snip away any excess ends. So next we've threaded on a good armful again of the brown yarn, and we're just going to go in with our basket weave here and start at the top right section. So bring our needle up from that point there at the top corner. And this method is over, under, over, under, over, under all the way. So we're just gonna leave our tail to tie off to later. So we're gonna start by going over and then under, over, under with the back end of your needle. So the opposite end, it just makes it a little bit easier using the blunt side. Now it can be a little bit tricky to get the rhythm of this, but once you get into it, it's actually quite easy. You may find that you won't be able to get all the way across. You might have to just pull your needle through and then finish where you left off, but if you can make it all the way across, great. And once we've pulled it through, you're just going to use the opposite end of your needle and just push that stitch into place. And from here, we're just going to take our needle and anchor that row into place. And again, you might just need to use the back end of your needle just to pop that back into position. We're then going to bring our needle just up below where we've just pinned that row down. And the key here with the basket weave is to start with the opposite where you finished off. So if you ended on an understitch, you're going to start with an over. So you're just going to do the opposite to the row that you've just done. And this is what gives that gorgeous basket effect. And once you've got the hang of it, you can go ahead and fill in the rest of the basket just until that is all nice and full. And once you've finished there, you can anchor that last stitch down. We're just going to take our needle and thread through our work again until our two tails are together and we can tie them off together in a triple knot. Next, we've threaded on a good armful of whichever colour you're going to choose for the base of your wheelbarrow. I've gone with just a darker brown here just to do a bit of contrast, but not too different. And we're just going to go in with a satin stitch. This is very, very easy little straight stitches. And we're just going to follow inside the lines of our design all the way around. Now you should have enough yarn on your needle to continue with this section as well and go all the way until you reach the wheel. And once we get to the end, we can just flip our garment over and we're just going to use our threaded needle and track through our work again so it all stays neatly together and bring the starting tail and the ending tail together to tie together off in a triple knot. And we're just going to repeat that process again for the handle. And now we're just going to have a look at the wheel. Now I'm going to do this in black, but I did leave my black thin yarn in the office and I'm filming at home today. However, I do have a thicker yarn. It's just a little bit tougher to pull through. So if you see this is looking a little bit tougher to get through, that is why. And that's why we use a thinner yarn for denim to pierce through the stick and stitch and also the denim fabric. So we use a lighter yarn instead of our thick chunky yarn. You can, of course, use whichever yarn you like. It's just a little bit more trickier on the fingers. So again, we're just going to do our satin stitch, which is just going to fill in the whole of the wheel again, just like we have been doing for the base of the wheelbarrow. And once we're there, of course, we're just going to do our usual tie off. Now for the little spokes inside the wheel, I don't want to use that really chunky yarn for that because I think it's going to lose all of its detail. So I'm just going to pop on a bit of the thinner thread, and so it's going to be like a darker brown, and we're just going to do a few little straight stitches to fill in this section. And again, we can tie off our two little ends together in a triple knot. And once we're all done, we can go ahead and add our pumpkins from the previous tutorial, and then we can remove our stick and stitch design. So under some lukewarm water, we're just going to wash away that stabilizer. It might take a minute or two to really get going, but once it's removed, you can flat lay to dry, and then you're good to move on to the next step. I really hope you enjoyed making this gorgeous little wheelbarrow. The next tutorial is our pumpkin patch sign. I am really looking forward to this one.